Black Flag, Fear, Circle Jerks, The Adolescents, Minutemen, Descendents, Agent Orange, The Vandals, Social Distortion. Just some of the names of Orange County hardcore punk bands from the 80s. Angst ridden coastal suburban youth railing against the surrounding white bread neoconservatism of the Reagan era. Now, mix that up with the zenith of surf and skate culture, and you've just concocted yourself one hell of a combustible Molotov cocktail. These were the foundational influences that helped create a young man who was just tinkering around with a camera as a purely amateur documentarian of his tumultuous world. That amateur passion would grow until one day he discovered that you can actually get paid for it and make a name for yourself. Well, he's all grown up now and is a world renowned award winning photographer. His name is Brent Broza, and he regales us with an oral series of snapshots about his life on this episode of $5 Buzz.
Step inside, lock the door behind you. Please make sure the towel is properly positioned. You're stepping in on another episode of $5 Buzz. My name is George Cursar, all by my lonesome on the East Coast in Fairfield, Connecticut. We're getting through the winter, but you guys are probably having a better time than I am. Roger in Los Angeles, what's going on, man?
Nothing. I told you last night I scored a free ticket to go see Bjork at the Shrine Auditorium. It was a wild show. That was a lot of fun. It was very chilly out though, but nowhere near where you guys are at. You guys locked in on the snow. Like, how bad are you compared to Massachusetts?
It wasn't as bad as they said it was going to be. It was probably about 40 degrees here today, so it's not bad. I think the groundhog might have saw a shadow, but we're getting through it, man.
And he didn't come out. He's dead.
Yeah,
he died.
Yeah.
So there was none of that today.
Pete Liska, what's going on, man? Also in Los Angeles. What's up, man?
Good, man. Excited to do another one here.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm really excited today to introduce to the listeners to Brent Broza, who is also in Los Angeles. And
yes, sir.
Most folks will probably be familiar with his photography, but he's also an artist, visual artist. And, he's worked with a lot of bands, and we'll get into all that. So, Brent, how's it going, man?
Doing great. Thanks, you guys, for having me. Super stoked to do this.
Yeah, man. Well, I just wanted to start out with a little story before we start talking about all things Southern California. I met you. I don't know if you're going to remember this, but we met through one of my good friends and one of your good friends. His name is Brian Clancy.
Of course.
And a lot of our listeners will know him because he's done 2 wine tasting episodes with us. And I jumped on a plane. I want to say it was either 06 or 07. I can't recall exactly what year. And it was in February. Clancy's like, come out here. I was single at the time. It was probably the last trip I took without my now wife. So I jammed out to Maui, and it was right around this time of year, February. And Clancy's like, well, a bunch of people are partying up at this house, and it's Valentine's Day, and anyone that's not out on a date is going to this party. So I went to the party, and I wound up meeting you, and there was another dude at the party who was, I think his name was Tom Thayer, who played for the 85 Chicago Bears. Do you remember that guy?
Of course. Yeah. I see Tom from time to time when I go to Hawaii, or I've been to Chicago a couple times and seen him.
Yeah. And I think he's still doing the radio broadcast. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep. He's still doing all the radio stuff for the NFL.
Yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah, it was really cool to meet him. And there was a bunch of other cool people there. But I always remember you had like a pretty dope collection of like old school skateboard decks and other cool stuff. So I kind of always remembered who you were. And Clancy always spoke really highly of you. And then I kind of followed what you were doing. And you're back in LA, or the South Bay area, I guess that's what it'd be known as. So maybe you could just tell the listeners a little bit about what it was like growing up. I mean, I come from the East Coast, and where you come from was kind of like was exporting California culture back in the old days, whether it was like Gleaming the Cube or Point Break or everything between surfing, the music, skateboarding. You were like right there in ground zero, right?
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. Yeah, grew up in Manhattan Beach in South Bay, but next door we have, Hermosa Beach and Redondo Beach. And so grew up in the full surfing, skateboard culture. You had a lot of punk rock roots right there with Black Flag and the Descendants, Pennywise. See your shirt. I think it's a Minutemen shirt, which
That
is
is indeed your shirt.
yeah, but that's San Pedro, but
From
still
Pedro, baby. Pedro.
so yeah, it was really cool to grow up in this area. My grandparents were here, my parents, and we were raised here. So I feel very fortunate. And I'm still here. I was in Hawaii for a couple of years in Maui, as you were talking about. And I still go there every, once or twice a year and do some shooting and visiting and stuff like that. But I'm back home.
Now, were you, as a younger man, were you involved? When did you really get interested in photography and like the visual arts? Was that like prior to your time hanging out in Hawaii, and maybe you could tell us what led you out there, because that was a pretty interesting scene that was going out there in Maui.
Yeah, well, photography, both my parents, my mom and my dad shot photos as hobbyists. My dad always had camera bodies and lenses and stuff like that and just shot stuff. He just really liked it. But my mom did quite a bit of shooting photos, just parties and friends and stuff like that. And she did scrapbooking, back in the day. And I still have some of the albums of that stuff. And so, I mean, I always liked that. But overall, I've always loved art for a long time, collecting art and stuff like that. And about 2004, I started dabbling a little bit into some photography, and I took a class, but I dropped out of it pretty quickly because it was a little too complex for me. Like all the settings and all that different stuff. I was like, oh man, I don't know all the math behind it all. I'm not like a real tech guy of it, but I knew enough to figure out kind of what I wanted to do. And then around when I moved to Hawaii in 2005, my dad sent me out like this little Kodak camera, like a 4 megapixel camera. Mm-hmm. So I just thought it was so beautiful there and stuff. So I just wanted to shoot some photos and I could. And I started really getting just really into it there. And I didn't really have the finances at that time to get into a full camera system. And so it took me, well, I guess it took me a little longer down the line to when I actually moved back to Los Angeles to get a camera, and I kind of lucked into that situation. It's kind of a complex thing because when I went out to Hawaii, I'm sorry if I'm all over the place here, but when I was out in Hawaii, I was selling wine. So I was out there in Hawaii visiting my friend on vacation originally back in I think it was 2004, 2005. I think it was 2005. And then that's where I met Brian Clancy. He was good friends with my other buddy, Rob Myers. And so we hit it off, and we ended up drinking a lot of wine. And he knew that because I've been in the wine business since 1992. So, coincidentally, my buddy Rob had a friend, Brian. And so we'd drink wine and stuff like that. And I just had a really good time when I was in Hawaii. I was really enjoying myself. Rob showed me a great time. I was like, gosh, if I get a job out here, it'd be amazing. And so coincidentally, one of Brian's buddies, he had, I'm sorry that this text thing's going off. I don't know how to turn it off. I'm getting lit up right now. Right. But he goes, actually, my buddy, he's running the west side of Maui, and I think he's quitting soon, maybe. I was like, well, if I get a job out here, it'd be cool. So I reached out to the company, and I said, hey, any chance you might be hiring? And she goes, well, we are, but it's on the west side of Maui. And I go, that's where I want to go. And so I ended up putting it out there, and it just kind of all went together. And a few months later, I was out living in Maui selling wine.
So what was it when was it that you started getting, when did you start getting paid? for doing
for photography stuff.
Oh yeah, let's jump in.
Okay, sorry. So well, it was weird because I was there from until 2008. I got a phone call that my dad had terminal cancer. And so I said, I need to get back and spend whatever time I have with my dad to be with him. So I moved back with him. And so when I moved back to LA to take care of my dad, he had a brand new Canon camera that he bought for himself, but he wasn't able to use. Sorry about the barking dog here. He wasn't able to use due to his illness. And so the times when I would watch or taking care of my dad, I'd have breaks. My brother would watch, or my dad's girlfriend, and stuff like so on and so forth. I would take the camera out and start going out and shooting photos. And so I'd post them. I believe it was like MySpace at that time, or Facebook was still a little bit of a thing. And I would post them, and people were like, "Hey, are these your photos?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh, cool." And are you selling them? And how much are they and stuff? And I just am like, oh, I never really thought about that. So I started I started getting addicted to it because I'd shoot everything. I'd go do all this, friends have parties. I'd go with my camera. It's like I'd be at every party, shooting stuff or any event locally around here.
A lot of candid stuff, right? A lot of candid.
Yeah. I was kind of
capturing the essence of what was happening around you.
Yeah. And like right after that, it was like Jack Johnson had a concert in Santa Barbara, and I'd known him from years before when I used to live on Oahu with my brother on and off for a couple months at a time. And so my buddy who's really good friends with Jack said, "Hey, he's playing in Santa Barbara. I want to go to the show tonight." I'm like, sure. I go, "Is there any way I might be able to get a photo pass?" And so we went up there, shot the show, and I'm just like shooting photos there. And they usually when you shoot a concert, you get to shoot like three songs. But with this, they give me a pass, and I shot the whole show. So it's like me by myself pretty much in the pit after 3 songs. And just shooting away, just never know if I'm going to get the opportunity again to do that. Did that. And a few months later, I was exchanging emails with his wife. She says, actually, he has a new album coming out, and can we use one of your photos for the album artwork on the inside? I'm like, sure, that'd be great.
And this is right around the time when Jack Johnson was like, he's a big artist, but he was commercially pretty at the peak of his powers around that time, right?
Yeah, he was. This was 2008. Sleep Through the Static album was coming out, or was out. And, it was just so cool to be able to have that, and just shoot and take my time and try to get some good shots. I didn't really know what I was doing. It's like the first concert I really kind of have shot. So, I've shot stuff in the past just with a disposable camera and stuff, but I was like really happy to get some shots and stuff. And I was excited that they liked one of the shots. And then from there,
what a great foray into that world. What a great way into that kind of experience. It just goes to show you that experience is better than education in so many ways. Just diving right in, jump in the deep end and go get that shot. And it was your own intuition that got the press pass to do it.
Yeah.
It's excellent. Yeah.
It was because, it's getting access is everything. If you get access, at least you have a chance to get something, right? Try to get a shot, something like that.
Yeah.
And I've been shooting Jack every concert when he comes to LA ever since. And if I'm in Hawaii, I've shot him up in Santa Barbara at the Bowl, at the Arlington Theater. I've shot the Kokua Festival in Hawaii, at the Greek Theater, Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah.
I've been a lot of places.
Yeah.
So that was just like a really neat thing. That was because it was so new to me, and like to get published was very exciting. And then I shortly thereafter, I got some photos in Surfer Magazine. And that was like a really big thing for me. So,
So a lot of action surfing action shots.
yeah, well, that one was actually for Kelly Slater's 3D movie that came out in Ultimate Wave Tahiti, and I shot just some of the shots around the premiere.
And he also lives in Hawaii.
Yeah, well, I think he lives there,
And
then
here.
I think then he's got places elsewhere too, I believe. But I've been, with Pennywise to Australia, and I shot photos of Kelly Slater singing, Broham on stage with Pennywise. I have great photos of that. So it's been great. I've shot a lot of bands since the very beginning of that. Because for me, it was just like, I just like to shoot what I think is cool. I shoot musicians. I shoot a lot of artists in their studios, or even like, graffiti writers and stuff like that. If they're doing murals, stuff like that, I'll shoot them there. If there's artists that do stuff in their studio, I like capturing the art behind the art.
Right.
And so, and I do surfing, a little bit of skateboard stuff, musicians, artists for the most part. And then I make my living as a landscape artist. So getting down to your question was that I started just taking scenic photos of landscapes. And I walked into a gallery, Riley Arts Gallery in Manhattan Beach, because I was trying to peddle my own stuff. And I was like, I didn't know the prices to sell them at. And I just didn't know anything about it, and I'm like, oh, let's see if I can walk into a gallery. Maybe they'll take my stuff. And she was like, oh yeah, I'll bring these in. She goes, I love these. And the first day she sold a piece for $975. And I was trying to sell it for $375 on my own. I couldn't, but I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like, this is, that was a lot of money. Still is a lot of money. It's like, wow, this is incredible that somebody wants to pay for one of my photos. And so I've had this relationship with Kim Riley at Riley Arts in Manhattan Beach ever since then, and I still work with her today.
So the timeline really is you're an amateur photographer, starting out. You became a landscape artist. Is that what you said? Is that really where you started to mix the two? And then you had a lot of friends who were musicians and or surfers and or skaters. Probably shot a lot of them on an amateur basis just for your own. And then once you got tagged with the Jack Johnson bit, then all these photos started to actually mean something beyond just your own personal collection. Is that kind of how the genesis goes?
Yeah, something like that. It just started out organically. I was just trying to shoot anything, an opportunity is like, if I can find a great opportunity that speaks to me, I'm going to try to shoot it. And I still try to do that to this day.
Right.
And so, I love music. So if there's a chance and there's a big artist I want to shoot, if there's a possibility, if I have an in somehow, I'm going to try to do that.
And Brent, I think Brian told me that you grew up with some of the guys in Pennywise. Is that accurate?
Yes. Yeah.
What was it like to see some of your buddies that you grew up with go on to like very outside success and playing big festivals and just being known out to the wider world than just, your buddies? It's got to be a pretty awesome experience, right? And then
it's incredible
them as well, right?
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, they're such nice guys, first and foremost. They're just regular guys, and so there's no attitude or ego. They're just really nice guys. And so it's just, and if you know any of the music or hear about the shows or see the shows, they're very interactive with their fan base, and their Broham song, they have everybody on the stage and stuff. It's really cool. And I've been to so many places. I've done the whole East Coast with those guys. I've done other states. I've been to Hawaii with them. I've been to Australia with them. And I've met a lot of other people through them. And I'm very grateful for everything that they've done for me.
That's cool. I was gonna always say, most people that are play either punk rock or heavy metal or metal tend to be everybody has this picture or vision of them, collectively most of the people I've ever worked with or known within those genres have always been extraordinarily nice people. Just regular Joes.
Yeah, I mean, like Jim, the singer, he's like my best friend. It's like just a really, really cool guy. And he has a new solo album that just came out, and it's incredible. So it's a big change from Pennywise. Now he has an acoustic album that I think the vinyl comes out in May, I think. But it's out on, I think, all the music vehicles that are out there already.
So growing up where you grew up, did you your taste when growing up, outside of what your parents influenced you, what music did you start to discover on your own? Was that sort of like you grew up when I was, I'm born in 1968, so I'm older than you, I'm sure. And then it was a lot of stuff that a lot of 60s rock and roll, but then it was when I discovered for myself Black Flag and the Germs and Husker Du and the Minutemen and Iggy Pop and all that everything sort of changed for me. So what was that like for you? When did you hit growing up in that area? I would imagine you were surrounded by the that Orange County hardcore scene.
Yeah, well, yeah, very much so. I mean, my first concert I ever went to, all the moms in our area, we had walk streets is where we grew up, in the area where I grew up in Manhattan Beach. And a couple of the families, our moms took all the kids. And this is 1977 when I was 8, and we saw the Kiss Live 2 tour with Cheap Trick opening up at the Forum.
Nice.
That was my first concert ever. So like all the moms took all the kids, and that was really cool.
People are jealous of those of us. I'm from Los Angeles too, growing up.
Yeah,
we get to really brag a lot of shit because I saw Elton John at Dodger Stadium as a kid.
Yeah,
Ted Nugent, Leonard Skinner at Anaheim Stadium when I was a kid. I mean, whatever, Ted Nugent, but you know what I'm saying. When 1976, that was cool.
Yeah,
we were lucky growing up here because we got everybody fucking played here. So
one thing we've learned
for
about,
sure. Like my brother is 4 years older than me, so my brother was into punk, so he kind of paved the way for me. So he'd bring home all this stuff, all this killer, of course, Black Flag, but then you have David Bowie back in the day and Queen, and I mean, geez, Motorhead.
Oh yeah.
Misfits, all this, Minor Threat, SOA, Black Flag, all this stuff. I used to write Jeff Nelson, the drummer.
ERITSOL. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's like so many really cool bands. I used to sneak into the Black Flag church when I was like 11 years old.
You went to the church, huh?
Yeah.
God damn. That must have been cool. They lived in a church back in the day.
Yeah, they were. I don't think they were maybe there at that time, but there were still a lot of
Robo time.
A lot of the stuff was still around in there, and it was pretty sketchy. There were like homeless people living in there, and it was pretty hardcore.
It was the church, but not with them in it.
Yes,
I see.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And Brent, I know like one artist that was pretty prominent in that era too, and you got to work with him, and is an artist that I've seen twice, Mike Ness, or Social Distortion. I seen him at the Stone Pony down in the Jersey Shore, and I seen him play at the Capitol Theater, and he's awesome. Do you know Mike at all, or what was it like working with him for?
I don't know Mike. I've never met him. Big fan of Social Distortion. I've been fortunate enough to shoot them. Got some great photos, but I don't know Mike.
Yeah.
Do you know Bad Otis Link? He was Bad Otis Link. He's older than us, but he was the artist that did all of the merch art for Social Distortion and TSOL and the Circle Jerks down in Orange County. He did the original Red Hot Chili Peppers logo, that became their logo. Years later. He was anyway. He's a buddy. He lives out in near Pioneertown now, out there. But
desert.
I just thought maybe you would have. But I'm sure you know who Ed Culver is, and you probably crossed paths with him too. They were all part of that same circle.
Yeah, Ed Culver. I mean, he's well before my time, but that guy's legendary, and the photos he has are incredible, and the stuff that he was doing, experimentally and the vision he had at that time with really not a lot to work with is quite impressive. I love following his Instagram. He has really nice stories and cool things that go along with the photo session that he did with the bands.
And then also, what George was telling me too, that you were you hung out with some of the Dogtown boys. Was that right?
Well, I mean,
or Peralta in particular.
What's that?
Or Stacy Peralta, perhaps?
No, not Stacy. My brother hung out with the crew that was friends with some of the Dogtown guys, Tony Alva.
Yeah.
And a couple of those guys back in the day. But I myself, I was a bit younger.
Yeah, you're a little to hang around.
But those they'd even come into the South Bay area. And they were mutual friends with a lot of our friends that were in that punk scene as well, and that skating, surfing scene.
And then what era did you get into with the surfers? Was that like Tommy Curran era, or when year was that?
Well, yeah, I probably started surfing like right, I don't know, 8th grade, maybe going into high school. I started doing it more seriously, I think. Tom Curran was the man back then. Still like my favorite surfer. Yeah. Till this day.
I'm not a surfer, but I hung out in the surf culture. My uncle was a big surfer in the 60s. His name was Randy Randall. And then his my cousins, his sons, David, was big in that scene. So I'd run into those guys all the time down the beach. I'd go and hang out, and I like body surfing and I like reading on the beach. I was more of a internal guy at that time, hanging out with all those surfers. I always thought it was kind of a meathead culture, but I have a due respect for it as I get older. I've had to sit through Big Wednesday and Endless Summer more than I ever care to admit.
Oh man, those are great movies. Really, really good. Love those.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, hey Pete, why don't we take a quick break, and then you want to bring us back in and we'll talk about some of the stuff that Brent's done with
I got a couple questions.
Pete, I know you got some questions, and I'd love to hear about like the other artists you work with, like Mr. Cartoon and those other folks, Shepard and all that stuff.
Okay.
That's cool to talk about.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, this is Eric from Slate River Farms. You may remember me from episode 1, titled Farm to Toilet. I'm just dropping by to remind you to please follow $5 Buzz on Instagram. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and hit the subscription bell on YouTube. That way, you'll never miss an episode. The Buzzards have some great content locked and loaded for season 3. I know I'm excited. Also, please check out Slate River Farms' website and our socials. We raise and sell certified grass-fed, grass-finished beef and pastured heritage breed pork on our 4th-generation family farm in upstate New York. Order online and we'll ship our goods directly to your doorstep via one-day shipping for all of New England, New York, New Jersey, and PA. From our pastures to your doorstep, life gets crazy. At SRF, we believe in peace, love, and pork chops.
We are back and hanging out with Brent here, and awesome conversation so far. Just to switch gears just a little bit, I was curious, you're a photographer, and I had thought about this earlier when you were talking about your dad and your mom, how they had how your dad always had lenses and cameras and stuff. Do you shoot on 35 millimeter or SLR style camera? And for 2, what do you think about the technology in phones now versus equipment you would use?
Well, I shoot just digital SLR. I work on the Canon 5D Mark IV and
nice.
All the L lenses that pretty much go along with it. I have a 400 2.8 that's really nice. I use that for surfing when I'm doing a lot of distance stuff.
Like from the beach, or do you get out there and shoot from the water?
A little bit, but for the most part, I'm doing it from the beach. And like especially when I go back to Hawaii, like I've shot at Jaws and
oh cool,
in Maui, quite a few times. And I was fortunate to win the WSL Big Wave Awards photograph in
Awesome.
2016 and 2018 with the same surfer, Aaron Gold. And in 2016, that wave is still in the Guinness Book of World Records for the biggest wave ever paddled into at 63 feet.
Jesus. So you have the dimensions of a little man and a very large wave over him.
Yep.
It's incredible, though. I mean, that must have been a sight just to see in person, much less see it.
Wow.
Yeah, 63 feet. That was in 2016. And I was back there in 2018. I was out shooting again, my same spot. Get another photo. I submit it. We go win. It was Aaron Gold, the same guy that won it in 2016 on a 55-foot wave.
Jeez.
These guys are animals. I love shooting big waves because the power and just like the athleticism in these guys and stuff. I mean, it's incredible. Like when you see it in person versus like a photo, they're really putting their life on the line for this. And but getting back into your,
did you surf too? I mean, did you get out there in those waves?
No, I shoot from the cliff.
Okay, but no, I'm talking. I mean, do you put the camera down and get yourself on a board and get out there and go?
Oh yeah, I mean, I surf. I don't surf as much anymore because I'm busy doing other things, unfortunately. But you know, I miss it. I just don't surf as much as I do.
Have you gotten in those big waves yourself?
No, not the big bigs.
Okay.
No, just regular stuff. At this point in my life, I'm not looking to impress anybody.
No evil Knievel.
Yeah, but with getting back to your question about technology and phone stuff, I mean, phones take incredible photos. However, I like the feel of the camera, and I don't, even though people say like, oh, it's got this many megapixels on the phone and stuff, I just find it to not be very sharp. Just my opinion. And I just think that at the end of the day, it's a phone that has a camera opposed to being a camera.
Well, that's the thing, it's a philosophical thing almost at some point. It might have the technology to match, but if you don't have the passion or the understanding and the feel and shooting and an eye and composition and everything that goes along with being a professional photographer, what good is a camera of that caliber on your phone anyway? Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's a commitment carrying a camera around.
Mm-hmm.
They're heavy, they're cumbersome, they take up a lot. I mean, when I go on a trip, I have my big, huge backpack that's full of, 2 bodies, whatever lenses, and that's like pretty much like kind of my carry-on. Then if I have to take my 400 with me, that's another carry-on. So I can't even carry anything else on, and then it comes to the point like, oh, now I have to check a bag because if I want to bring my, my tripod or anything else that I might need, or fins or my my water housing, so I have to carry all this stuff, and I don't have like a backpack to put like my personal things into. So it's a lot of stuff, and it's a lot easier taking a phone out and going click, which is cool because you can get a shot, but odds are I'm not gonna be able to blow anything up substantially with tack sharpness that I like.
Yeah. Excellent, man. I mean, and you're going to want to blow up a huge wave with a little person in it. I mean, that's got to be, I would love to see that photo. Where can I find that photo? Just to look at it.
You could find it on my website on brozaphoto.com.
Cool.
Broza. My Instagram, that stuff. You'd have to go down to the years of 2016 and 2018.
Excellent, man.
And you can find one of them on the Guinness Book World Records website. But that's, it's a lot of work taking that camera out, because people a lot of times see just a finished image, like, oh, I can shoot that or do whatever, but they don't see behind the scenes. If you have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go scout a location, try to set up for this shot, find the shot. Hopefully it turns out the way you're envisioning it, or the weather's poor, or it's raining, or it's foggy, or, there's so many different factors and variables that go in with it. It's not just sort of showing up and it's like, oh, here's this beautiful sunset, and it's that easy. There's a lot of work in planning that, tides And if you're looking for clouds or no clouds, sometimes you have to wait around for days or weeks to actually get what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of.
Yeah, especially when you're shooting nature stuff, man. I give it up to all those nature photographers, especially ones that are out there searching for that one animal that will spend.
Snowy owl.
They will.
Yeah,
they will be in there for months in that climate in their little hut, just waiting for that one moment. And
if they get it, man, it paid off.
if they get it, yeah,
It really is.
Yeah.
At times a waiting game.
Oh yeah,
You get that special moment. Just a little flicker of a time right there.
it's true. When did you start painting?
I started painting in 2018. So this
That
one
became a
behind
new
me.
passion.
What's that?
It became a new passion just not too long ago.
Yeah, I've been into art for so long.
Yeah.
I've been collecting art for over 20 years. And so I always liked it. And that's even like when I got into photography, it's like I wanted to try to be an artist in some capacity, and photography is like, maybe I can get into it somehow or figure something out. And I just love everything about art and, painting, photography, just anything. And I'm always open to learn different things. And, this, like the one behind me, this is called Corona, named after the Minutemen song.
There it is.
So these colors, I don't know if you're familiar with the photographs that I do, the blurred horizons at all.
Yeah, those
So
are amazing, dude.
Thank you.
Really cool.
Thank you. I started doing these style of paintings to kind of intersect the horizon stuff. I wanted to do some with more up and down.
Vertical as opposed to horizontal. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I started doing with that. And again, doing it more in an abstract fashion. This one, Corona, just reminded me of being like the houses and the colors, like in Mexico when you go on surf trips and stuff like that. These cool, rich turquoise colors and bright colors and stuff like that. And the song Corona by the Minutemen that I really liked. A lot of my paintings I named after songs. So
the only song that they ever were able to license for what was it, for the Jackass series?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's the opening credit for Jackass.
It's so funny. I keep seeing Jackass ads everywhere. I guess they're bringing out a new movie pretty soon.
Jackass 4 opens Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, I was listening to Johnny Knoxville on Howard Stern the other day. It's pretty
Yeah,
hot.
me too.
It seems like it's gonna be a pretty heavy duty one. So I'm looking forward to seeing that for sure.
Yeah. And speaking of art, I know that you photographed some pretty significant artists like Shepard Fairey, who, I always remember him from walking around New York City and seeing the old Andre the Giant face, but he also, most people in the world would probably know his poster that he did for Barack Obama. What was it like shooting him while he was working? How could you tell the listeners a little bit what that experience, or maybe you've shot him more than once?
Yeah, Shepard's very nice, guys, and super creative and very well-spoken, and just a really, he's just a really good person all around, and just incredible artist, way ahead of the game, doing a lot of this stuff. And, he didn't get, he's always been popular, but he got really popular after the Obama thing for the vote, that Progress and Hope poster. My friend has in downtown LA by the Arts District, he has access to a street called Indian Alley. And he will sometimes have find artists to do some murals down in that area. And he said he was talking to Shepard about it. And I go, oh, he has this really cool, there's a shot that Aaron Huey shot of a man with an Indian man and his horse, and Shepard did a print of it. I go, that could be a cool thing for that. And he ended up talking to him about it, and he ended up doing that mural in Indian Alley. And I was able to shoot him painting that mural. So that was great. I remember it was really hot. It was like 100 degrees that day. It was in August, and that was in 2013. Did that, but about scaffolding, all that stuff.
I know where that is. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, you've been there?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
know exactly what it is.
Yeah, my buddy Steve Ziegler, he's really does a really cool thing with putting artists together and looking after that alley.
Yeah,
And it's really a neat thing. If you have a chance, if you're ever in downtown LA, check out Indian Alley.
it's great to watch something in real time that becomes somewhat iconic after a period of time to be able to witness something like that.
Yeah, I was really happy to do that, and got some great photographs from that. And Shepard put a really nice post up on his website. Sorry about that. On his website, and gave me credit and stuff. So that was very nice of him. And I've been a fan. I've been collecting his artwork for years.
Right.
Been collecting Shepard's art for a long time, and it's still awesome.
Yeah, man, it's definitely got this really distinct vibe to it that you kind of know right away that it's coming from one specific artist, and you can't really replicate that. One other artist that I think most people, and I would love for you to just educate us on somebody, but Mr. Cartoon, who's the pretty famous tattoo artist, you've shot him as well, right? Was that while he was tattooing?
No, well, that was there was an art show in 2018 called Beyond the Streets, and that was curated by Roger Gastman. And Roger is a big art guy, and he did one in New York as well, I think in 2019 or 2020. And those are kind of evolving from different cities, maybe even around the world. So he asked me if I'd be interested in shooting this, this show, had upwards maybe 100 artists in it. And so any time that I had off, I would be at the, I guess you call it a gallery or what. I mean, it's giant. It was a giant space warehouse. And whenever people would be doing installations or doing some art, some people would paint like as they're getting ready to put it up, or before they're putting it up, or some people already had pieces or they're touching it up or whatever. So any opportunity I can get for any of the artists, I would go in there and shoot with them. So Mr. Cartoon, I was able to shoot with him twice. I don't know him. He was really, really nice, let me shoot photos of him. I got some of them when I was doing some drawing, got him doing some airbrushing. Definitely an honor to shoot those guys. Kenny Scharf, Chaz Bohorquez, Revoke, Retina, Craola. I mean, the list goes on and on. Richard Coleman. It's been, that was such a great art show, and it went on for like 6 months. And so I was there shooting a lot of the special events behind the scenes. Just if there was artist Q&As, I would be there. I shot there so much. And these are some of my favorite artists, it was really, I feel very fortunate to be there to document a lot of those artists doing their stuff.
Right on. But how over the last couple of years, how has the situation we've all had to suffer through, how has that either impacted or did it help you? I mean, did it make you become more creative? Were you less creative, or was it just kept the status quo?
A little bit of all of that, because the mindset was so weird. It's like, what's going on? Are we going to live for next year? Like, what's happening? And then you can't go out anywhere, and I mean, you couldn't even go on the beach.
Yeah,
that was crazy. But I looked at it as some opportunities that we'll never have again. So there was times I was taking my drone down to the ocean and letting that thing go and have no one on the beach.
Crazy.
And just
Wild.
totally wide open. I'd put it on video sometimes, let it go for like half a mile, just over the whole beach, over the water. It was incredible. And it's when we had the bioluminescence. I don't know if you saw that, those blue waves.
Oh, yeah.
Coming in.
Yeah, the blue waves.
Yeah, actually, I have a photo of it right there on the wall. But that was an incredible, that was like nature's gift at that time when there was nothing really to look forward to. And then like, you can't go on the beach. Like, yeah, right. So always you see it's like, and it's at late at night, 2 a.m, 3 a.m, whatever. And it's like ants all over. You can just see silhouettes of people and police trucks coming down the beaches trying to get everybody off when they're.
Were they being strict? Were they
they're trying to kick everybody off.
Really? Like even local guys like you? I mean, you can't go down your own beach. Unbelievable.
This is during COVID, during
I guess
you weren't allowed to go on the beach.
Yeah.
So it's like, and they don't know. I mean, it's just they just see figures that are scurrying around, like running around.
True.
But I just thought that was kind of a really cool thing to have happen, during such a horrible time. It was like nature's paintbrush coming to life at night, and just up and down the coast. And it stayed for a long time. Usually I'll come in for maybe a couple of days and get that red tide. That was there for like a month.
It's an algae phenomenon.
Yeah, the algae.
Right? Yeah, that's right.
And so it was like really thick and just, it was there. And
that's awesome. That's really cool.
I got night drone shots of it too, and watching the waves, and it looked like fireworks exploding through the whitewater.
That's crazy.
It was incredible. And there was also times that then there's like times I just didn't really feel like doing much. It was kind of blah. And, it was such a weird mindset. It still is, but it's like more manageable now. It's like kind of just dealing with what's happening right now and figuring on how to get through it and how to just keep rolling along. And hopefully we have some end at some point. But but it was weird because then business was like everything kind of just shut off for a bit. Then once everybody realized that we're probably gonna be okay and stuff, then stuff started coming back online and everything. It's nice.
I like to look at it as a in a positive way whenever I can, in that it was a good reset for humanity. Maybe we were supposed to go back home for a little while. Maybe we were supposed to relax with all the action for a little while, and hopefully that's what it serves as. At least that's,
yeah, for sure. It's like people
appreciate the algae bloom like you're talking about, and appreciate. I love hearing that's your takeaway from it, because so many, it was obviously wasn't easy, but not all things are bad,
Yeah, and people have to spend more time with their families, and
exactly.
You could Zoom with your friends, even though like you'd see your friends, or at least you had other ways to do things, or if you figured out the correct way to do the driveway happy hours or stuff. You can still you can do stuff, but it's just got to get creative with doing it.
You had to get creative.
And you got to think outside the box to do things. And a lot of stuff's changed as a result of COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
there's also there's always a yang to a yin. And there was also that point of people being on the internet way too much.
Oh yeah. There's plenty of time for that.
There's the dark side to that too.
Oh, dude, I bought one of those like HDMI little Nintendos, like so I could play Super Mario Brothers just to kill some time.
I wasn't talking about video game playing.
oh no.
You see everybody's like redoing all their homes and everything like that too. It's like there's nothing to do, so let's work on the house and do all this stuff. So I mean,
pick up projects you haven't picked up.
Exactly. So a lot of times you just don't have time to do stuff. So it's nice to get back into just picking up time to do little things you don't have time to do. So
yeah. Do you have a family down there?
I'm with my girlfriend.
Oh, nice. Okay. And you have a dog.
Yeah, it's her dog, but
I love Hermosa Beach, man. I like the classic the coin only parking meters all
those are gone for the most part.
They're
now.
gone.
Yeah.
Oh no,
That
the
was a
last
nightmare.
the last bastion of old
Oh
LA.
yeah,
You
Jeez.
know.
Those were brutal.
Hey, Brent, just as I'm jealous of you guys, but all you guys in LA, but my wife and I would always go down whenever we would go to LA like once a year, and one spot we always went down to is Manhattan Beach, and they had this outdoor mall. And I know that you were involved with a project over there. And everyone that's listening, I would implore you to go check out Brent's. And this could be a two-part question. The way you do these blurred images of the horizon and the beach is fucking so amazing. It's really
Thank you.
captivating. And I know that I think your work kind of was involved with that mall. Do you call it a mall, or it's like an outdoor?
Yeah, it's a new mall. I'm so sorry. I forgot to plug my computer in. It's about ready to run out of juice. So I'm trying to
take your time. But yeah, I guess maybe could you just tell us a little bit about
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, here we go. I think I may have. All right, got it. Cool.
Got
it.
So yeah,
tell us a little bit about that technique that is like, I have never seen it quite the way you do it, and also that association that you have with the outdoor area. Because I remember when my wife and I would always go down there, check it out, go to like the Nikukai surf shop and whatnot, and then we would always get like a smoothie or a cup of coffee. And then
Yes.
I saw that your work was like, I want to say it was like wrapped around, or it was you. I'll let you say.
Yeah.
It looks really awesome, man.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's the Manhattan Village and Manhattan Beach, and so that was a really, really nice thing, because when I was a kid, malls were cool in the 80s, and like it was new for us. I think that thing got built originally. It used to be just fields when we were younger in the 70s. And I think probably around 82 or so, it got built into a mall. And so they had a movie theater there, and food courtyards and Haagen-Dazs and all these different cool little places. And so that was like the thing you did in high school. So I had really great fond memories of hanging out there a lot. But, over years, it kind of just went to the wayside and just aged out a bit. But they went through this new renovation, and they reached out to me about, they said they had 9 barricades. So they're basically like, like a storefront before it's getting ready to open. So it's just shuttered with a board in front of it. And they go, and they did this beautiful renovation with like faux grass and pools and walkways and, chairs, and just really a nice place to relax and spend time with your family and friends. And
we go
so
every time.
What's that?
I go there with my wife every time I'm in town.
Okay.
I don't know if that's like a dorky, touristy thing to do, but we love it.
No, it's incredible what they did with renovation of it.
Yeah.
And so when they reached out to me, they said, we have an idea. Well, we have these spaces. There are 5 on one side and 4 on the other. And these are 15 feet by 40 feet, 15 by 90 was the largest one. So it's like this big, long corridor. It's called the Plaza. That is the entry to, before you go into the actual mall. They have a couple freestanding restaurants and stuff outside where that place is. And they said, but these are temporary, but we'd love to get some of your artwork on there if you have any idea how to go about this. So I went there, I took photos, and I kind of photoshopped them. I go, I think I have an idea. I do these blurred images of the horizons of the ocean, but I do morning ones. That's called the Serenity series. We have these softer pastel colors. And then I have the Fireline series. We have these richer, vibrant, orange, red, purple. And so on one side, it's all soft. And so I plugged in all those, like 5 different images of the Serenity ones. And then I did 4 of the Fireline ones.
So wait, I'm just so I'm catching, just so I'm clear. These are murals of blown up photos?
Yes.
Wow. How does that, I mean, that alone seems like a daunting task. How do you print that out, or how do you make that?
They did it all. I mean,
wow.
You're dealing with a commercial development you know,
That's
project.
incredible, man.
But I have the files and stuff like that, and they gave me the sizes of everything, and it was cool because they gave me like, this is basically the canvas, what might work here. And so I just sent them a little proposal of what I thought what colors and how it might lend itself nice. And they love the idea. They say,
amazing,
this is
man.
really, really, we love
You gotta
this.
see it, Pete. It's really
Well,
cool.
I mean, large scale art like that, it's always impressive. So I mean, you don't see it often. That's essentially why. And you're blowing up these photographs that huge. I got to go see it. That sounds great.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredible. Like I said, they're temporary, but they've been open. I think they've been there for like almost a year. Can't really remember, but I think it's almost a year. And 3 of the original 9 are gone, but still, it's still very prominent in there. But after I did those, there's a restaurant that has a walkway that has 3, I think they're like 25 footers. And I did 1 blur in 3 different panels.
Like a triptych?
It's a triptych of 1, but it happened to be like totally, it was great. It was like made for that spot, it seemed like, because when I did it, a wave was breaking like this, like in the center, and then just both went out like that. So it was like just equidistant, and it just like fit there. And so when you're in the restaurant looking out, it looks like you're just looking at this perpetual sunset, opposed to just looking at a white wall.
Right.
So now it adds a little flavor to it. So we'll see what happens. But I'm really, really glad that they chose me to do that. It means a lot to me, being a local guy from Manhattan Beach, them reaching out to me, and I have so many memories of that mall.
That's sick, man. We want to be mindful of your time, man. I appreciate you coming on. What can you tell? What should we be checking for? What do you got coming up that you're working on, or is there anything you'd like to let people know about that they should be looking out for?
Right now, I'm just, I'd like to do another art show soon, but I'm just kind of waiting for the COVID thing to mellow out. It's just, it takes a lot of time and energy. I just want to make sure it's the right time to do it.
Yeah.
For everybody's people behind it, and, for me and all that stuff. But for the most part, I'm out just, I'm shooting and I'm painting, and just trying to stay busy with that stuff. So I'm always just looking for new things to do. And so I'm just doing that. And if you want to look at any of my stuff, I have my Instagram, which is Broza Photo, or you can find my name, Brent Broza. Under my name, Brent Broza, Broza, you'll find like 5 different emails. So I've got one that's wine, one's painting, one's the abstract blurs, one's just photography. And then one I have of artists that I just shoot artists and just artist photos. And my website, brozaphoto.com.
Brozaphoto.com.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll definitely link up to all that, man, when this comes out. And I mean, what a great story, man. Great meeting you, and great speaking with you. Really impressive stuff. And I love the essence of Southern California. You got it.
Well, I thank you guys very much for the opportunity, and thanks for having me on. It was really nice to talk to you guys.
Yeah, and Brent, I'm really grateful that one of the cool things is that we share is that Clancy is our buddy, and it's just really cool that
absolutely love that guy.
When you get to meet someone through a friend, and you just know you're just like
who's been a guest twice on our show.
Yeah, he's been a guest twice, and we're gonna do. I don't know if we're gonna do Japanese whiskey, or we're gonna do some more wine. He's talking about doing.
I vote for whiskey.
Yeah, we want to. He said it's really hard to get right now. Go figure. Yeah. But Clancy is a great dude, and
love Clancy.
Yeah, dude. How do you not? And just also, man, like just the spirit of aloha in Hawaii is just. I'll never forget it. Just going there is just incredible, and it's just I don't know, makes me sentimental, and I really appreciate your time, man. And thank you. And we'll let all the listeners know where to find your work. And Roger, I'll let you take it out with your words of wisdom here, sir.
I want to thank Mr. Brent Broza for coming on board. And you check out his artwork at brozaphoto.com. That's correct. Yes, sir. Right?
Yes, sir.
Broza Photo, BROZAPHOTO.com. And I want to thank all the listeners for joining us on this episode of $5 Buzz. If you have any comments or questions about this or any other episode, or any ideas for guests or topics you'd like us to discuss in the future, please email us at $5buzz, and that's FIVEDOLLARBUZZ@gmail.com. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And hopefully we will get back to you as soon as we get done taking down that 63-foot waves ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Have a good night.
Right on, you guys. Thank you.